So, what exactly is a civil engineer? Well, a civil engineer is someone who works with construction and maintenance of the physical and natural built environment, including structures and materials, as well as transportation of people and goods, and design. That means they do things such as building and designing bridges and traffic patterns. So, an environmental engineer is someone who works with maintaining and enhancing the environment, sustainable resource management, and supporting the global economy. This means they do things such as waste and water management. So, what are the necessary skills in order to be a civil and environmental engineer? Well, they need to be able to identify, analyze, and solve problems. They need to be creative in solving these problems, as well as have an aptitude for computing and design. They need to have knowledge of other engineering disciplines, and they need to have oral and written communication skills. Here's a general overview of the necessary coursework for civil and environmental engineering. So, the program at Georgia Tech is based on engineering fundamentals and real-world experience. Students also learn how to apply core engineering principles to complex, multidisciplinary problems in order to improve the lives of people on a global scale. The civil engineering program, the core classes that everyone has to take is the usual classes such as English, chemistry, physics, social sciences, etc. But however, the major requirements and College of Engineering requirements and CE breadth electives that civil engineers have to take are classes such as Intro to Engineering Graphics, Dynamics, Deformable Bodies, and Structural Analysis. These are just some sample classes. There are many more to choose from. For the Environmental Engineering program, the core classes are the same core classes that they were for civil engineering: English, chemistry, biology, etc. For this program, there's major requirements, additional requirements, and environmental engineering technical electives. These include physical chemistry, water quality, air pollution engineering, and the capstone design. Now, just like civil engineering, there are many more to choose from, so there's plenty of options. So, some industries related to civil engineering include architecture, building contractor, industrial engineering, and sanitary engineering. Now, these industries are the most closely related to civil engineering, but there are some that are more loosely related as well. Some industries related to environmental engineering include air and water quality management, chemical engineering, environmental scientists, and agricultural scientists. Now, these industries are the most closely related to environmental engineering. There are also some that are more loosely related as well.
In order to find more about civil engineering and environmental engineering, we interviewed Dr. John Kuhn. Dr. John Kuhn is an environmental engineer and he specializes in water and waste treatment. He's currently employed by Georgia Tech as a professor of practice. These are professionals that are given appointments in practice areas at Georgia Tech because they have experience. He also works as a private consultant for an aerospace company. Dr. Kuhn has been working as an environmental engineer for 41 years now. Some of his past jobs include working with engineering companies as a technical manager in the Army. When I asked Dr. Kuhn why he decided to become an environmental engineer, he told me that he did so because he liked the outdoors and chemistry. He's hopeful to her to work outdoor, but as it turned out, he never got the chance to work outdoor. Dr. Kuhn told me that he's never done any internships, but he did land surveying with a group of environmental engineers. This job consisted of setting boundaries for construction. Most engineers always complain about never having to use most of the things they learned while they were in college. When I asked Dr. Kuhn about this, he told me that all his chemistry courses and environmental science courses, environmental engineering courses, he still uses them today. The courses that were useless to him are calculus and structural steel design courses. The only benefit he believes calculus had to him is that it developed his critical thinking skills and problem solving skills. Dr. Kuhn told me that the most challenging aspect of his job is keeping up to date with the new methods and techniques to apply to the classroom. For his consulting jobs, understanding clients and understanding their needs is also challenging.
Dr. Bruce Ellingwood is a current faculty member at Georgia Tech's College of Civil and Environmental Engineering. He currently serves as the Raymond Allen Jones Chair at the college. Um, He specializes specifically in structural engineering with concentrations in materials and mechanics. He earned 3 degrees, bachelor's, master's, and PhD, all in civil engineering, all at the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. That's where he got all 3 of his degrees from. He has received various honors, mostly from an organization that he participates in, the American Society of Civil Engineers, and he has also received a few honors from other organizations. What I believe to be his most prestigious honor is that he won a silver medal from the U.S. Department of Commerce in 1980. Dr. Ellingwood has written numerous research papers on structural engineering. Included is his 2003 essay called Load and Resistance Factor Criteria for Progressive Collapse Design. And in that, he's basically responding. He did research on progressive collapse after the collapse of the Twin Towers on the World Trade Center in New York in 2001 because they collapsed floor by floor after the planes crashed into them. And that's basically what progressive collapse is, collapsing floor by floor. So it can be very common because if one component of the building fails, then the whole structure can come collapsing down. In the essay, he critiques a lot of like minimum criteria that are set to approve a building design, and he basically sets them higher. So criteria such as like volume and load requirements and like durability tests. He wants the durability test to be basically more variable, and load and volume requirements to be higher. So like in conclusion, he says that in this day and age with this technology, that progressive collapse is inevitable. Like you can't like completely just stop it. But steps can be made to minimize the chances of progressive collapse design.
I'm going to be talking about job prospects for civil and environmental engineering, or basically what it's going to look like when you graduate. The job outlook right now for civil engineering is about 19% growth, and this is estimated for 2010 to 2020. And that's recognized as about as fast as average, so that's good. The median pay since 2000, back in 2010, was about $78,000, which is also good, with the highest 10% earning more than 120 grand and the lowest 10% earning about 50 grand. Typically, you're going to be working in an office environment, so that's good. Or you can also work internationally, and you can work outside if you're doing some sort of like construction project. Civil engineering is considered to be a full-time job unless you're doing some sort of contractual work, then your hours might vary. So you're going to need some basic requirements before at least being considered for any sort of civil engineering job. You're going to need at least a bachelor's in an ABET recognized program, and ABET stands for the Accreditation Board of Engineering and Technology. And then after you do that, you're going to have to take the FE exam, or Fundamentals of Engineering. And then after you take that exam, you're going to be recognized as like a CE intern or an engineer in training. Also, if you want to sell your own services, you're going to have to get a license. That's a requirement of every state, including the District of Columbia. So that's one thing to look out for. And usually there's going to be like a minimum amount of training required by your state if you want to be recognized as a PE or a professional engineer. Also, you're going to need a license if you are managing a project where you have to manage other engineers or technicians. So that's another thing that you have to look out for too. If you're going to go into environmental engineering, the job outlook is about 22% growth, which is a little bit faster than average, so that's a bonus. You are probably going to earn about $78,000 as a median pay, and that's according to 2010. Usually with the highest 10% earning about 120 grand and the lowest 10% earning about 50. Also, you're going to be working in an office environment also. Uh, if you're working with some sort of like urban planner or regional planner, you're probably going to be working in an office. You might be going to seminars if you're working with business leaders or you're talking to lawyers, and you could also work outside depending if you're working with some sort of like technicians. Um, Environmental engineering is also considered a full-time job. You're going to be doing about 40 hours a week, so that's pretty busy. And the minimum requirements needed to be like recognized by a company as like a solid student for or candidate job candidate was that you're going to need like civil engineering, you're going to need a minimum of a bachelor's in an ABET recognized program. You're going to have to take the FE exam. You're going to have some sort of work experience like prior to, or like a co-op or an intern would count as some sort of work experience at college. So that's good. You're also probably going to need to take the professional engineering exam to be recognized as a professional. Also, you can be board certified by getting your certification from the American Academy of Environmental Engineers, and this shows that you have some specialization in one or more environmental engineering topics. So these are some just general facts about being an environmental or civil engineer in the professional world, things that you need to look out for while you're in college so that way you can prepare yourself. And so there you go.